Today we're talking to St Albans City manager Ian Allinson after the Saints have scored their highest number of goals in the league game at Clarence Park since 1994. A 7-2 win against East Thurrock United. It sounds easy, but it wasn't like that, Ian, early on, was it? We were 2-1 down when they had a bloke sent off.
Tough game, David, and full credit to them in the end. I mean, at 25 minutes when it was 11 against 11, I thought they'd outplayed us and deserved to be in front, and that 2-1 could have quite easily been a bit more than that. Though, we weathered the sort of first 5 minutes, got one up, nil up himself for a great goal from Sam Merson. Zane should probably made it 2-0, and then they had a little spell of 10-15 minutes where they scored 2 goals. Probably could have had another 2 or 3 quite easily, and the sending off massively changed the game. And full credit to us, full credit to the players, because they then punished East Thurrock with some fantastic finishing, and Sam Merson's finishing in the end was the difference between probably the two sides.
Marvin Protector, I probably got that wrong, he only committed those 2 fouls. Did you think the 2 of them together warranted a red card?
Listen, Dave, no, I don't think the first one was a yellow card, and I'm not so sure about the second one because I was more interested, because I felt we broke through on the goal, and I was more disappointed the referee had pulled us back for a free kick when I felt we could go through and get the equaliser. It was only then when he produced a yellow card and a red card, I realised it was Marvin at the time. But it's difficult, as I said before. You start brandishing yellow cards quickly, like we've seen at times this year, and you leave yourself on a mark that could lead to a red card. And we've seen with Percy, second half got a innocuous challenge. There wasn't a lot in it, and straight away the referee's brandished another yellow card. So it was only right to get him off quite quickly, so we didn't want to go down versus 10. So, but in the end, as I say, first 20-25 minutes, I felt their front 2 were the best I've seen all season in this league. I think Higgins and Smith caused us loads of problems. Their pace, their movement, everything they did was spot on. And as I say, I felt we got a little bit lucky today. But let's take it. It's nice to be back in the playoffs. It's nice to score 7 goals, and I didn't realise it was as far back as what you said. So let's enjoy the evening, because there's going to be a lot more games, going to be a lot tighter than that as the season rolls on. We've
seen plenty of occasions where 11 against 10 hasn't gone as it should have done, but we got it right after that, and Sam Merson, 4 goals. First City player, not that long actually, since Charlie McDonald in February 2016 to get 4 goals in one league game.
Yeah, and I'm pleased for Sam, because he's gone through a bit of a hard time since Christmas in terms of the awful challenge he got at Hemel, where, as I keep on about it, he went unpunished, and it left a lot of damage to the calf and the Achilles. And he's managed to overcome that, and just as we thought we were getting him back for an hour at Harrogate, he went down with a chest infection last week, which again set him back for Eastbourne last week. But he missed training Tuesday night. He came in really sharp on Thursday. We thought long and hard about do we start him, but he looked so sharp on Thursday. We went with him, and we've got away with it a little bit today, because we've been lucky in terms of his performance. But his performance was outstanding. His movement was outstanding, and you've seen the one that's hit both posts. He could have quite easily had 5 today, so full credit to him. He deserves it, and good luck to him.
It's funny, isn't it? Football, a lot of it is down to confidence. You can see when he got that first goal, suddenly there's a spring in his step again.
Yeah, and he needed it, because, as I say, he's had a hard time in the last 5 weeks since New Year's Day. So it was good for him to do that. He has been a little bit down in himself, so it was great for him, great for the team, and it's great for him to go on and get the hat-trick first and foremost. So confident when he got the penalty, and because he's not a penalty taker, David Noble's the penalty taker, so I'm sure we'd have had a few choice words if he had missed it at that crucial time, 2 minutes into the second half. But he finished it with aplomb, really, and he went and got his 4th goal, which was great for him. And as I say, full credit to the boy. He's deserved it, and I think that puts him on something like 16 goals this season, which is great, just as past Christmas.
You say maybe we've got the breaks today. As you said, 2 minutes into the second half here, we've got our first penalty of the season, and Sam sticking it away, making it 4-2. That's really put the game beyond them with our 10 men.
Well, I thought it was our second penalty of the season, because I felt we got
it's a league game, first league penalty then.
Oh, was it? Sorry, then you're right then. So I say we got one against Paul, didn't we? So, but no, it's our first penalty of the season. But it was nice to see Solomon driving in there. Again, it's one of them. I mean, they all say it was a penalty. From where I was, I'd have been disappointed if it was given against me. But that's me just giving you an honest view of where it was. But they did say the keeper's actually caught Sol and pulled him down. But I always look where the ball ends up, and the ball had ended up for a goal kick to them. And I say something we needed just for the start of the second half, settled us down a little bit. Then we had a mad 5 minutes where Ben Hurd's give a bad back pass to Smith, I think it was, and Dean's had to keep us at 4-2. So still little things there we've got to work hard on. We've got to just get this consistency and this professionalism where we don't make sloppy mistakes. We're asking the players to pass the ball, we're asking them to play it in difficult areas, but we've got to make sure that we don't make sloppy mistakes and allow teams back into the game. And that's what we've done today. We've gone 1-0 up, we've allowed Thurrock to get back in the game, and at one stage there we could have been out of the game. And as I say, fortunately they missed a couple of good chances. They missed, obviously the sending off has helped massively, but full credit to us the way we went and punished Thurrock when they went down to 10 minutes, and the amount of goals we got. And as I say, great from our point of view to go and get 7 goals and put a bit of difference there on the clean sheets in terms of the goal difference, because we was falling on behind the top 7 when I looked at it this week. So that just brings us back up slightly, which is good, and obviously helps us going into Dartford next week, which is going to be a massive game.
Dean Snedko had should we say, testing first half.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, again, you know, you've got to look at Dean's performance over the course of the season, which has been good. But a couple of opportunities there. You know, the first one, can he push away from the goal? He's pushed it back into the goal, and the second one, I think he's tried to punch it. They said their number 3 headed it in the net. So from where I was, it looked like he punched it in his own net. But they said their number 3 had got in front of him and headed it in. So I don't think it was a home goal. I think it was their left back who scored it. So, but again, it's difficult because they put us under massive pressure, and he's also had to make a couple of saves there. You know, important one just after half time with Ben Hurd's back pass, where he's actually made a good save and kept it at 4-2.
As you say, it's nice to be back in the playoff position, certainly is, and our home form was suddenly picking up again. If it hadn't been for that goal deep into added time against Harrogate, we'd be on a pretty good run now with wins against Chelmsford, would have been Harrogate, and of course a thumping win today.
Yeah, I just think we went for that little spell, as I said before. We give a lot of goals away from set pieces when we had the injuries. As you see, you know, we've got everybody back fit now. We've probably got too many. The squad's a little bit too big at the moment. I mean, Harold Joseph's missed out today, but he has got a slight back injury. We've got Harvey Bradbury's obviously suspended, so the squad is probably slightly too big, but we don't know where we're going to be in terms of injuries, suspensions and things like that, which is going to be vitally important going into the last 12 weeks, 14 weeks of the season. So we've still got a long way to go. I wanted to get back in the playoffs. We've been out of the playoffs too long, and that's what we've got to try and do. We've got to make sure we try and get a result now, a positive result against Dartford next week, and then try and stay in there, because it's a damn sight easier staying in there than it is trying to get back in there. And we've spent probably the best part of 6 or 8 weeks trying to get back into the playoffs after we spent most of the season in there from the start to where we was up till sort of December, and we had a few poor results in that November period. Which pushed us out of it, but as I say, since probably the 1st, 2nd of December, since we went to Truro, our form has been good. I think we've had 1 defeat, which was Hemel. We had a couple of draws where probably cost us some points, but you know, we picked up some wins as well, which has been vital. So you know, we just got to keep it going. We've got a massive month now going into February, and then we see where we are once we get into March to what we need. Maybe we might need 1 or 2 players to come in. We might need to choose, you know, to bring 1 or 2 in just to sharpen it up again going into that sort of last 6, 8 weeks of the season.
You mentioned next Saturday, Dartford here at Clarence Park. They're top of the table. A victory then really would tighten it up at the top again. Down at their place, we lost 2-1. I thought we were somewhat unfortunate not to get a point. It's a big game.
Yeah, it is, and that goes back to that period when we were struggling defensively. I think on that game we lost Harold. We obviously lost Tom Gardner the week before. We lost Harold, and then obviously we managed to get Thurrock back in sort of December time. So, you know, we're going to go back into it much stronger than we was that day. Defensively, we should be a lot better. And obviously, Kieran Monlouis was coming back. That was his first game back, I think, after being out for 6 to 8 weeks himself. So, I think we're in a better position we was going into the game next week than we was back in October. But on the day that day, I thought we played very, very well. I was unlucky not to get something out of it. But you know, they're there for a reason. They're very strong. They're very organised. They score from set pieces, and they've got players in there that are scoring at the moment. So we know it's going to be a tough game. So we've got to approach it right. We train hard again this week, and hopefully we can pick up a positive result next week.
A miserable dank day today, but a crowd of just over 600. It's not too bad. It should be a good crowd next week. Yeah, especially when, you know, we've said earlier, you know, with Chelmsford, Harrogate, and Hemel here all in a very short period of time. It's always hard because it's a lot of money to pay out in January, and then we go, you know, you've had Christmas on top of that, New Year on top of that. So great, 600 people today on a dismal day, and hopefully we've given them something to cheer about, which is nice. Puts us in the playoffs. We've got the league leaders coming in next week, so hopefully that 600 might turn into sort of 750, 800, and hopefully they can get behind us like they did today, because we need it. You know, we're going to need all the support we can get in the next 12, 14 weeks, because we're going to go into a massive period now where, you know, we want to get first and foremost into the playoffs.
And once we get in there, we want to win the playoffs. Simple as that. But you know, who's to say we can't go and win the league? It's going to be a tough ask. I think we've got a squad here on our day can be and as good as anything in this league. But we've got to get consistent. And I've said it all season. Our consistency is why we're still sitting seventh at the moment. So if we can get the consistency to a level that's going to be correct week in, week out, then who says we can't go and still push on and try and get in the first three first and foremost, because that gets your home fixtures going into the playoffs.
Lovely, thanks so much Ian, and congratulations on a terrific result. So Saints next in action on next Saturday, that's the 3rd of February, visitors to Clarence Park, National League South, Dartford, 3 o'clock kick-off.